Okay, so we shall begin. So, continuing with the topic of the joining processes, we move to the next topic in this module of joining. So, until now, we have discussed different methods of joining, which included welding. We have discussed different types of welding processes, which included gas welding, then arc welding, laser beam welding. Then we had discussed about solid state welding processes, which included spot welding and seam welding. We also discussed some defects pertaining to welding processes. And then we have also discussed about brazing and soldering until the last class. So the next way of joining different products that is used is adhesive bonding. So adhesive bonding is very similar to what we use as use of any adhesive in the faying surfaces. For example, you might have used Fevikwik at some point of time to join different objects. So adhesive bonding is very much similar to using a Fevikwik, but the difference here is the industrial grade adhesives, they provide a good amount of strength, and these type of joining processes of adhesive bonding are very popular in joining dissimilar materials like plastics to metal or ceramics to metal, even plastics also they are able to join. So they find widespread applications in very critical applications such as aerospace, aircraft, all the wind turbine blades. Like these are some of the critical applications that I am listing here. So where essentially welding or brazing or soldering cannot be done. So we will see the details of this adhesive bonding now. So adhesive bonding essentially, as I mentioned earlier, it uses an adhesive in between the faying surfaces. So typically in industries, this type of adhesive dispenser is used, which is also known as an adhesive gun, or we sometimes call it as an glue gun. So this basically supplies this glue here. So this glue is what is this glue here? So this is important to understand. So predominantly it is a thermoset which is used as the glue here. So we have studied about properties of thermoset in the first module, that thermosets are a kind of polymers which typically um, experience permanent crosslinks upon the polymerization reaction. So once the polymerization reaction takes place, permanent crosslinks are formed in this thermoset, so that it gives the property of this thermoset to very well adhere to this adherents. So these two surfaces or the objects, they are typically in this process are known as the adherents. And of course, the glue or this is known as the adhesive. So it is a thermoset based epoxy which is used as the adhesive bonding material. So numerous parts they can be joined using this process, and this process is not very new, it is very mature and quite old. So this was more popular to make components of aircraft, especially during the World War II era, because large number of aircraft parts they can be joined using these processes. Additionally, these adhesives they are available in different forms like liquid, then paste, solution, emulsion, powder, tape, film. So you can understand, since adhesives are available in a wide variety of configurations or forms, so they can be applied over wide variety of joint configurations. So typically they are zero point 0.1 millimeter thick, although that thickness can be different for different loading conditions, but typically that is the range of thickness which is used of the layer of the adhesive. So these adhesives, they have the properties of like high strength, especially in shear. So here it is important to understand that the strength of the adhesive is good in shear, because when two components are joined, especially this is more popular with lap configuration. So here your adhesive is being put, and if the load is being applied in this fashion, So this becomes a shear loading. Often, what is different in this adhesive loading is that the configuration of the joint is such that there is maximum contact area between the fairing surfaces. If you try to make a butt type of a joint with the adhesive bonding, so perhaps that joint will not suffice the strength required. So that is the only difference which comes in the adhesive bonding, that the fairing surfaces should have a maximum surface contact area. So additionally, adhesive bonding provides toughness, that is ability to absorb external loads, and these are generally very inert to external atmospheres like chemicals, environment degradation, heat, and moisture. So heat, it is to some extent, not fully, but up to say 120 degrees centigrade or so. Maybe it can go as high as 150 degrees centigrade. So again, the reason why it cannot go beyond that is the role of thermoset epoxy, because beyond 150 degrees centigrade the epoxy will get charred or burnt away. So that will then no longer provide the adhesive bonding between the surfaces. So additionally, the adhesives, they should have this capability to wet the surfaces which have to be bonded. So typically you look like this. This is also an adhesive dispenser or a glue gun used in industries. Nowadays, many art and craft people also use it for joining different objects. So you have this cartridge of the glue here or the adhesive here. So as you press this, so there is a heating coil inside this which heats it up, and then you get the molten glue outside. So this glue may not be thermoset, it is something different, but in industrial systems, typically it is a thermoset based system. So now it is also important to look at, since I am talking of adhesives, what type of adhesives are actually used in the industry. So typically, these are the names of the adhesives mentioned here, like epoxy, polyurethane, modified acrylic, cyanoacrylate, and this last one is also the used as the, so aeronobic is also used as the uh, adhesive in the industry. So what is another important aspect of this epoxy is the service range temperature. So you will observe here that the service range temperature is basically the temperature range in which the adhesive bonding can provide the adequate bonding for the components to function properly. So typically they range from minus 55 degree to 120 degree centigrade. So in most cases it goes as high as 150 degree centigrade and cannot exceed that value, as I have discussed earlier also, because the thermoset will get charred away. And then next important aspect to look at it is the heat required for curing or mixing. So since it is a thermoset, so to catalyze or accelerate the polymerization reaction in this thermoset, essentially sometimes in some cases external heat may be applied, and pressure is definitely applied in all the cases. So, but there are now other adhesive bonds also, bonding materials available in which perhaps no heat is required. Then another important aspect to look at it is the gap limitation. So generally, in some cases, there is no gap limitation. Means it can have a very big area, can also be, bonded. But in some cases, some gap limitation is also there. So this is just the summary of different structural adhesives. So the industrial adhesives are also known as structural adhesives because the name implies they give adequate structural strength to the components to be joined, and thereby giving the name as the structural adhesives. So with this, I move some to another important aspect in adhesive bonding is the preparation of the surface. So suppose these are the two surfaces which have to be joined. So what is important basically to perfectly prepare the surfaces which will be having the contact with the adhesive. Suppose we are providing the adhesive here. So these surfaces, they have to be properly cleaned so as no dust, dirt, oil, grease, or other contaminants are present. So why this is important? Because we want the perfect bonding between the adhesive and this surface, and adhesive and the top surface. So surface number one and surface number two. So they should have the perfect bonding with the adhesives. If these contaminants are present in between, so what is going to happen? The bonding between the adhesive or the surface will not be continuous, and thereby the performance of this adhesive joint will also reduce. So this surface have to be properly cleaned and prepared before the adhesive is being applied. And contaminants, they also should have they also prevent the wetting ability of the adhesive, and they also even prevent the spreading of this adhesive on the surface. So in the nutshell, to make any adhesive bonding for any component or product, the surfaces have to be cleaned perfectly to minimize any presence of dust or dirt, atmosphere or grease and oil. So these are some more applications of adhesive bonding, which include laminated windshield glass. So all these laminated windshield glasses that are used in automobiles, so they are made up of, especially in the automobiles, all the windscreens, they are also made up of using this adhesive bonding, because in that, with glass there are multiple 3 or 4 layers of acrylic, which is another polymer, basically to minimize the shattering of the glass upon impact. So they are laminated together and then they are sandwiched using this adhesive bonding. So all other applications include like helicopter blades, honeycomb structures, aircraft bodies, control surfaces of the aircraft, like the tips of the wings or ailerons, etc. So all they are made up of using the adhesive bonding. Material may be different, so there is almost practically no limitation with material. They can join metal to metal, they can join metal to plastics, plastics to plastics, metal to ceramic, ceramic to plastic. So everything can be joined using adhesive bonding. The only limitation is that under very high temperatures, the adhesive may not sustain the high temperature and the bond will then get deteriorated. So these have a very widespread application, very popular in industry to make many products. So another important aspect of applying the adhesive is basically application of pressure. So often whenever any adhesive bond is being created, so suppose here you will see that there is a thin metallic metal sheet, and then there is wood which is used here. So basically, when we combine such type of a dissimilar materials using this adhesive bonding, so we have to give sufficient time to the adhesive to in order to cure and develop sufficient strength. So this is done by using these clamps. So these are just one example of the clamp, like C clamp. So there are different type of clamps being used, and we leave this adhesive bonded part for quite some time, say 24 to 48 hours under normal conditions, or if it is slightly heated up condition, the time required may reduce. But this is a very important aspect to perhaps increase the efficiency or increase the process capability of the adhesive bonded joints. Also, another aspect of the adhesive bonded joint is basically they can also be combined with mechanical joining, that we are just going to see about fasteners. So when we combine the adhesive joining with fasteners, so they also further improve the strength of the joint. So this was all about the adhesive bonding, and now we perhaps move to the last part of the joining processes, which is the mechanical fastening. So mechanical fastening is also a method to join different products or components. So perhaps I will say it is the most popular. So you look around yourself and you will see almost in every component or product you are using, there may be at least one nut and bolt joint or one rivet, at least one rivet. And it is also a very low cost method. But the only difference that this mechanical fastening is that this is basically a temporary joint, not permanent joint, as discussed in say adhesive bonding, brazing, soldering, welding and all. So all those were permanent joints. So what is the main difference between temporary and permanent joint? So temporary joints, so there you don't have to basically break the joint. Instead, you can just disassemble. So temporary implies that you can just disassemble the joints to basically what you can do, you can separate the components. But if it is a permanent joint, so what is happening there, you have to break the joint. So when you break the joint, then only you can separate the two components. So this is the main difference where in temporary joining and permanent joining. Now, we cannot say that permanent joining is always good or temporary joining is not good. There are situations where we need temporary joints. There are situations where we need permanent joints. So now we will see in which situations are these temporary joints created by mechanical fasteners are more popular. So, most important aspect of this temporary joining here is essentially mechanical fastening provides the ability to take apart the parts for some time during the product service life. So often there may be a very complex assemblies of different products which are functioning together. So sometimes there may be a need to open up the part for maintenance or repair. And then once the maintenance and repair is complete, we want the part to get assembled back quickly. So in that scenario, perhaps we need a joining process which is temporary, means at our will we can lock it, at our will we can unlock it. I will give example here, like, so everyone has seen the automobile. So the wheels in the automobile, so they are generally connected to the shaft using the nut and bolt. Okay. So whenever there is any issue with the tire like puncture and all, so we have the ability to open up the wheel using the nuts provided on the wheel using appropriate spanner and lift the first we lift the vehicle using the jack, and then using the spanner we unscrew the punctured tire and we can replace it. Now you imagine if instead of the nut and bolt you have the permanent joints there. So in that scenario perhaps you could not open it on your own will. You might need some skilled expertise to open it up. So in these type of scenarios, mechanical fastening, this is just one scenario I'm talking of. There are many more scenarios, but this is very much important to understand that mechanical fastening processes, although they create temporary joints, but are much much more important, and they have their own importance, I can say, in their aspect of getting assembled or disassembled temporarily. So, to summarize why it is important to read about mechanical fastening as a joining process, they are one of the easiest way to manufacture or join the components, and they are also very easy for assembly or transportation. Suppose there is a very big and very complex assembly of products like I discussed earlier, like a wind turbine blade. Wind turbine blades are one of the massive structures being produced, and then they are assembled using nuts and bolt with the wind turbine assembly. So during transportation, it is opened up, and then once it reaches the installation and commissioning site, so at that site, using these nuts and bolt, they are assembled together. Then mechanical fastening is also useful for replacement of parts and their repair, and they are also used to create certain mechanisms for providing motion like hinges, sliding mechanisms, adjustable components and all. And all in all, because of their easy assembly and disassembly, they lower the cost of manufacturing. So if you can do a joining process with nut and bolt, and you do a process of joining using welding, suppose there is no importance of creating temporary or permanent joint, just the objective is to join. So in that case, perhaps nut and bolt will be the low cost alternative instead of welding. So that is important to understand. So next is the main difference here compared to the other joining processes. So in all the joining processes that we have studied, say it welding, brazing, soldering, then we have also studied about the adhesive bonding. So what was there? So as such, we just needed to prepare the surface. So prepare the surface means to clean the surface to remove any contaminants in form of dust, oil, grease, etc. Additionally, there was almost no other requirement to do the joining processes using those processes. But mechanical fastening needs another aspect of surface preparation or the joint zone preparation is to create a hole. So to fix any nut and bolt, basically what you need is, suppose these are two products which have to be joined. What you need is to join using nut and bolt. Basically, you need presence of a hole in between these components. Basically, a hole has to be there. So where you will put the required nut and bolt. Okay, to basically join it. So to create these holes, there are different methods. So one of the method we have already studied about punching. So punching was is basically used only in case of thin sheets. So where they are thin sheets, so punching can work. So beyond a certain thickness, punching will not work. So there we need to use other methods such as drilling or other machining methods using some electron beam or laser beam may be used to make the hole. So hole preparation is a main step which is there in mechanical fastening. Of course, in some materials, there are fasteners which do not need any hole preparation. For example, the wood screws, the screws which are used in the wooden components, they don't need a presence of hole because they are self-fastening. So just you have to put the screw through the wood and it will hold it up. But that is also dependent on the properties of the wood. The grains of the wood are such that they get deformed and they are able to hold that screw without any hole preparation. But in most of the other cases, especially joining with any metals or polymers, etc., using any fastening process, mechanical fastening process, hole preparation is one of the most important step. And hole preparation, it is done using methods like drilling, advanced machining, or high laser beam, or electron beam, or maybe punching. So punching is only restricted to very thin sheets. So only very thin sheets can be punched. Beyond that, we have to go to drilling process. So these are some examples of the different type of fasteners. In particular, two we call them as threaded fasteners. Now, why they are known as threaded fasteners? So threaded basically implies, the name implies that they have certain patterns which are also known as threads present here. So these patterns that you see here, they are nothing but they are known as the threads. So these threads are very important on these fasteners because these threads, they provide this tightening and loosening effect by the bolt or the screw. So they basically provide this ability to lock. So this locking ability is provided by this thread, which are provided on all of these fasteners. So you can see some more varieties of screws. So screws are, I can say, provided in very large variety of screws are there. So most often you will see the head of the screw is slightly different, or maybe the pitch of the threads is different. So depending on the need, so there are wide variety of screws available. Correspondingly, we have wide varieties of spanners, wide variety of screwdrivers, which can fasten or unfasten these threaded fasteners. So I hope this term threaded is now clear, that these are basically because of presence of threads. And then basically we have other specifications of any threaded fastener, which I will not be discussing in much detail. Just you can see that there are parameters like the nominal diameter. So whenever you go in the market to purchase any fastener, basically the person will ask you what is the diameter of the fastener. So nominal diameter is basically the average diameter being looked at uh, as a cylinder of this fastener. So that diameter is useful to get the proper size of the fastener. Of course, if you look in more details about this fastener, since this is a thread provided here, so there will be a minimum diameter, or which is known as the minor diameter, and at the exterior it is also known as the major diameter. So correspondingly, these major and minor diameter and the thread angle, and of course the pitch of the thread, they basically also are many parameters which also are used to specify which type of threaded fastener is needed. Although much detail cannot be discussed at this point of time, but this is just for your information that the threaded fasteners, they also have a lot of specifications. So then there are unthreaded fasteners which include rivets. So in rivets as such, you will observe they have a very smooth surface, no threads are present. So riveted joints are also very popular. They are sometimes considered as semi-permanent or sometimes as permanent joining. So here what is important compared to the threaded fastener, that riveted joint, if you want to take it apart, so generally you have to break the rivet. So this we can consider it as a semi-permanent or a permanent joint, but not a temporary joint. So then there are eyelets also being used, which are tubes with flared ends. So such type of objects where you see, so these are the eyelets through which you can pass the hollow rivet or chain. So these are known as the eyelets, which are provided for the joining processes. So beyond mechanical fastening, we have certain other processes like metal stitching and stapling. So all the cardboard boxes, corrugated cardboard boxes that you receive, say if you order through Amazon or other places. So all these cardboard boxes, they may be created using this mechanical stapling, sorry, metal stapling. So this type of staples are provided, or sometimes stitches are also provided. So this machine is basically used to provide these stitches here on the metallic sheet, but these are limited only to very thin sheets or these type of cardboard boxes. If there is thick sheet and all, so perhaps you cannot do the stapling or stitching, so then you have to go back either to welding, joining, sorry, brazing, soldering, etc. So these are also, but this mechanical stitching and stapling, these operation is quite fast, and they are basically suitable only for thin metallic or non-metallic materials. Lastly is seaming. Seaming is just a way to basically join the material together by creating this type of a joint, and then basically bending it over, maybe once one bend is created, then bend number two, and then three. So this type of different type of bending procedures can be executed on different pieces which have to be joined, and consequently we can obtain this type of a leak proof joint known as the seaming method. Although with this, I have completed the joining module from the perspective of the course, but it is a very, very wide topic, and perhaps we cannot cover everything in this module of level 1 course. But I have tried to give you a very good overview of the different processes which are used in different industries for different products, which can be used to realize those products using the joining methods. What we will do is now is, perhaps we can stop just for 5 7 minutes for questions from this module, and after that I will today itself I will start the next module. So we can have some questions please from this module.